If the Patriots lose to the Colts, what do you want to see happen during the bye week? And my guess is a lot of you want change, but perhaps that's not the answer. You could say keep it the same. The tank is on. Certainly you could say keep it going. They'll ultimately figure things out and fix things. They're not a very talented team, but a change isn't the right answer. But I think most people will boil down to, and I could be wrong, making a move at coach or making a move at quarterback. And I'm fine with either. But, Curran yesterday said they're going to do the humane thing. They're going to do the thing that's fair to Bill Belichick. And they are going to be deferential to his career, which I disagree with. But if Curran's telling me that's what they're going to do, fine. I'm going to listen to him. That's what they're going to do. They need to make a change at quarterback. If they come back from Indy and they're 2-8, and the team is listless, and they're not playing well offensively, and they haven't been playing well offensively, and you have guys who aren't on board, then you need to do something to get guys back on board. And a quarterback switch to me would be the one that's in play. Mac Jones is not playing well. I heard Ian Rappaport today. Some people sent me the video on NFL Network. He's like, he's finally kind of starting to play a little bit better. Is he? I mean, last week I thought he was fine. And the end of the game certainly wasn't his fault. But is he really playing better? So I, post-bye week, would want to get into what can we find out not only about these other quarterbacks, but what can we find out about the players on our roster? If Mac Jones is not going to get the most out of Kayshon Boutte, who might play this week, Demario Douglas, Tyquan Thornton, if he's ever on the field. And Thornton didn't play well, but Mac also missed him wide open on 4th down last week. If he can't get the most out of him, then find out what you have in those players, maybe with another quarterback. Find out what you have in those quarterbacks. And I don't think you're going to rack up the win totals in the meantime and cost yourself a draft pick. So if they lose to Indy, especially if it's ugly, I'm looking at making a switch at QB, Mego.
I hear you. I'm just wondering if you have a preference between the two. I would assume two. I wouldn't assume that Malik is who you're going to.
You know who my preference is. Zappy.
You would go Zappy.
Yeah, but I'm fine with either. If you're telling me they're making a move just to make a move, then I'm fine with Greer. But I personally would go Zappy.
What if they did like a platoon system between Zappy and Greer?
Fine.
Just fine. Get wild. I disagree. So there's this phrase in Germany that I found today.
Don't you dare.
It goes,
I like this.
Adwarten und Tee trinken. And that means drink tea and wait.
Okay.
And that's what the Patriots should do. So I don't want to be too repetitive with what I said earlier in the week, but it's kind of the same way that I feel about what they should do with Bill, which is wait till the end of the season. You're putting yourself in an excellent draft position as things are going along. So why are you going to screw with it? I understand it could get a lot worse in terms of the way that the locker room operates, and maybe you feel like you're losing culture, and the guys that remain in the locker room that you'll bring over to the next year and the year after that will maybe lose some belief. But I'm operating in this frame of mind, assuming that Bill is going to at least lose some of his power in the offseason. That at the very best case scenario, Bill is no longer GM, or Bill doesn't get to pick what happens in the draft next. Because I did read some horrifying comments from Phil Perry's mailbag today, and I don't want to get too far down this track, but he essentially said that he was of the opinion, and I consider Phil a plugged-in smart guy. Mm-hmm. He's of the opinion that Bill Belichick wouldn't want to run it back with another rookie QB. That he doesn't want to go through that again.
Oh, good.
So if you get to the point where you have a top 5 pick and you have a shot at Drake May or Caleb Williams or maybe J.J. McCarthy or whoever is up there as a top 3 quarterback, particularly a top 2 quarterback, and the guy who's picking them is saying, I just don't feel like going for one of those 2 quarterbacks, That's like grounds for not coming back anyway.
Can I just jump in on that? Because I have long been... This goes back to when the Patriots drafted Garoppolo. And it's like, do you want the quarterback to sit behind Brady and wait, or do you just want to go get a quarterback and play him as a rookie? I'm a broken record on this. It's been like a decade. You can play a rookie day one. You can play them day one. They're fine. And you're going to find out right away. Like, Bryce Young might suck, but you're going to know. C.J. Stroud might be really good. Yeah. He was fine playing week one. So I hate the idea. This is another antiquated thing with Bill. The quarterback does not need to sit for 4 years. The quarterback can play week 1 next year, and you'll be fine.
But when we're talking about this season, again, I don't want to get too far down the road. That goes back to why I say for this season, just keep doing what you're doing. Again, adverten und trinken.
Which translates to what again?
It's a German phrase of drink tea and wait.
Okay. So Mego wants them to drink tea and wait. I know that's not an option. At Jones and Mego on Twitter. You can dial us up, 617.
Little bit impressed by my pronunciation.
I have no idea if you're pronouncing it right. You can dial us up, 617-779.
But it sounds good, right?
It does sound good. 779-793-7. Do you want to change it coach, change it quarterback? Nothing. Still time to figure it out. Or nothing. The tank is on. Arcan.
I am Team Volan. And by Team Volan, I mean if they lose to Washington and they lose to the Colts, what did he say in his article? He said that means it's on the table, that they move on from Bill Belichick. That could be the come to Jesus moment, whatever, the day of reckoning, all that stuff. I know it's not popular to be on Team Volan these days. I understand that, but that's where I am, and that's what I think needs to happen for a couple of reasons. The main one being, I want to see how the team reacts. Curran said yesterday the team would be sad, they'd be downtrodden if they move on from Bill. Well, I want to see if that's true. I want to see if there's really a sense of that, or if maybe, they've been walking on eggshells for too long, and they finally feel like, hey, I can be myself again. I don't have to clam up in front of all the reporters. I can be, I can crack jokes. I can do things. I can be a human being for the first time since I started playing here in Foxborough. I want to see if that is a thing or not, and I also want to see what you have in Gerard Mayo. I'd imagine he'd be your interim coach. I don't think he's going to lead them to the playoffs or anything, but if he's someone that the team can rally around, I want to know that, and I feel like the best way to find that out is to give him some on-the-job training. I don't see what the point of keeping Bill around is here, other than to make sure, the banquet forum 5 years from now or whatever is not awkward, and I don't care about that.
Me neither.
So that's where I would go. Team Volan.
So it's interesting, but that really is the only way to find out how the players feel about Bill, meaning us. I mean, Kraft might know already, but on the outside, it's the only way for us to really know and for us to start to find out about Gerard Mayo. Because if you just replace Bill and next year it's a better mood, we're not going to know that's directly correlated to Bill Belichick. Right in the middle of the season, though, with a locker room and a team that feels like it's not bought in, if you get them unified, it's going to be like Josh McDaniels. Is it that bad in the Patriots locker room? Well, no. And on top of that, we'll start to evaluate Gerard Mayo. I also think that's important. And look, I'm on board with doing that as well. If I could choose multiple options, that's what I would choose. I would choose them both. But the easier thing to me and the more likely thing to me is make the move at quarterback, because I really don't think there's a big drop between Mac and what's behind him.
And if there is a big drop to go along with that, okay, sorry, the season's not going anywhere. Like, I just want to check
Right, it wouldn't
in.
be the worst thing in the world. That's true.
Like, your draft position's just going to improve. It's basically going to come down to you and probably the Bears and probably the Giants, the way that it's going.
Yeah, last night was a bad result for that, right? Didn't you want Carolina?
Yes.
We wanted Carolina to win last night, right? Like, you wanted Pinheiro to make that long-ass field goal at the end of the game because then they'd both have 2 wins, meaning the Bears and the Carolina Panthers. It's a little easier to catch.
There's still a lot of time. And just looking at the responses so far, though, 7% of our respondents, and again, the answers were Belichick fired, a change at quarterback, nothing, still time to fix this, or nothing, the tank is on, which was my choice, the last one. That one's leading 57%. Nothing, still time still time to fix is 7%. I'm surprised that 7% of people out there still feel like there is something to this season that is worth, like, they're going to figure it out.
There's nothing
just
to
hold
fix.
Tight.
There's nothing to fix. So those 7%, I mean, that's just the outliers of society is what that is. How do you think the Patriots fare against the Colts this weekend? How much stock are you putting in the game? And if they lose, because I'm not sold they do, by the way. If they lose, what do the Patriots do? Do they do anything? Do they move on from the coach? Do they move on from the quarterback? You can weigh in.